Yo, what's up guys? So I've been seeing this super clean and minimalistic reel editing style on Instagram lately. So today I'm going to walk you through step by step how you can get this exact look in DaVinci Resolve. But enough talking, let's just dive right in. So now we're in DaVinci Resolve and the first thing we're going to do is just go into the settings and then click use vertical resolution and then make the timeline frame rate 60 FPS. And now we're just going to import the assets, and all the assets are linked below if you're interested. So here's my folder with all the assets, so I'll just highlight all of these and then I'll go into DaVinci and drop them in the media pool. And if you're watching the thumbnail, you can see it says ChatGPT, and as you can see I made this with the ChatGPT and I made this one as well, and now I'll just quickly show you how I did that. So here's my ChatGPT and here's the prompt I used. So I just found a lantern on the internet somewhere and then I added it to another chat and then I wrote to it, make a prompt for me to make it look like this other lantern I found. So this was what it came up with, and then we got this really cool looking lantern. It's really cool. You can easily generate a lot of cool assets, icons and stuff like that. So if you want to see me do a full breakdown of how you can utilize ChatGPT to skyrocket your editing and save a lot of time and a lot of money from buying assets from other websites, let me know. And as you can see, we got this really cool stick with the leaves on. So here is all the assets we'll be going to be using, and then we can just go down to effects, and then I'll just grab a fusion composition and then we'll just make it 2 minutes like this, and then we can just jump into the fusion page. So I'll just add a background and edit, and then I'll just make it this beige kind of color. But just go to the other project I have. Now we're just going to make these lines you can see here. So I'll just go back in here and then we'll just grab a background, and if I just click on one of the background we can see it in the other window. And now we'll just go into the image here and make it quite a lot less wide. So we'll just make it something like this, and you can grab a polygon node and add a background and just make point in the bottom corner like this and point kind of in the middle like this, and then we can just drag this one up a bit, go up here and then just make point in the opposite corner. Then we can just check off solid and add some border within to it like this, and then we'll just add it to the background like this. And I'll just add a transform right after, and then we'll just change the edges to warp, and then we can drag down the size quite a bit and we can rotate it like this and just drag it down a bit more. And we'll just add a crop right after. Yeah, and as you can see now it looks as it should look. And I'll just drag the size down a bit more, so we got something like this. And I'll just add an ellipse to the merge here, the blue input, and then we'll just make it a bit wider and rotate it a little bit and do something like this. And then we'll just turn up the soft edge all the way and turn down the level quite a lot, so it's just visible, and we can actually make it a bit bigger. So this looks like a pretty cool background. So now we can just start by creating the 3D composition, and what we're going to use for that is just a camera 3D image plane. I'll just check the camera's output and drag it into the image planes, and then we'll get a 3D merge. Now we can just add the renderer 3D like that, and then just add it to the merge, create a merge in between. So now we can just go into the renderer and change the render type to hardware render. This just makes it a lot faster to render because it renders on your GPU. So now we can just drag back the camera. So go to the camera and just drag the C like until you can see the white edges like this, and then we can just add the dollar bill here. So I'll just move all the composition over a bit so we got some room to work with, and then we can see we have added the dollar bill. Now we can add a color corrector to it and then just make it green. And as you can see right now it's really vibrant, and what we can do for that is just turn down the saturation a whole lot. So we do something like this down here, and I think we can make these colors a little bit darker. So I'll just drag down the lift a little bit like this to make it a more deep and dark look, and we'll just drag down the gain a bit as well to make the whites a little bit darker. And the color corrector node is really awesome because you can change so many different things about the colors. So what we'll do now is just add a drop shadow like that, and then I'll just turn up the blur and then just turn down the shadow strength a bit. Now I'll just go into the image planer, then just zoom this in quite a bit like that, drag it down and maybe rotate it a bit and drag it over like this in the corner down here. Then we can just copy this image plane and add it above, and then we'll just drag the same thing in here and add it as well. And then we don't have to create this all once again to add one more, and then we'll just add this up in the right corner. And we are not done at all yet. this is just to sort out things, and then we'll do all the cool animations when we have added all the things we'll be using. So now I'll just add this code here, which looks pretty cool. I'll just copy this here and add it like that and add it in here. Then we just go into the image planer, then just reset everything. I'll just move it back quite a bit and size it down, and then we're just going to add it to the top right corner like this. Now we can just add a bit of text animation here. So if you are wasting a lot of time animating text, I think you like this new text pack. It has definitely saved me quite a lot of time. So what we have in the text pack is we have the new text plugins. So with these you can create an animation in just seconds, and you can choose the in length, the in offset, so the delay for the in, the out length, so you also get an out animation, and you can even choose if you want the out animation, and you have controls for everything. Everything is based on the new anim engine. The only problem with this is it's a bit heavy to render, so it's a bit long render times, but it's really quick. You just need something fast. But we also got the base anim, so if you just need a really quick animation, so for now we'll use the word by word slide in fade left, so we get this really cool slide left like this. But if you don't want to grab the pack, I'll show you how you can do it manually right now. So this one is actually one of my favorite text animations right now. So what we'll do is just Control C on this one and then paste it as instance. So Control Shift V and then just add it into the mask here. I'll just type something. What we'll do now is just go into the instance text here and then go to the shadings tab and just right click on the enabled here and then choose the instance, and then we'll just check off the checkbox and just go to page 5, right click on enabled and then just check on the instance and then just click on enable. What we can do now is just click on this border fill thing here and then just drag this down to 0.01, and the other one is minus 0.09. And what we're going to do now is just go back into the text here and right click in the checkbox and then just choose follower. Now we'll just go into the modifiers, then go to shading, go to page 5 and then add a keyframe on the opacity at frame 0, go to frame 20 and add another keyframe, and then just go back to the first one and drag this one down to 0. So now you can just go into the transform and then just change the transform to words instead of characters, then just keyframe it at frame 20, then just go back into the follower and go to the first one and go to frame 0 and just drag it a bit to the right, and then we get this slide to the left, and I'll just make it say hello world, and then we can just drag up the delay to 2, and then we can go to the tools again and then just remember to make the level to word instead. So this doesn't look too good, to be honest, but it's because we haven't smoothened it out in the spline yet. Just open the spline editor and just click on instance text and then zoom to fit, and then just highlight these keyframes and right click and go to ease and then do out cubic, and then we get a really clean slide over like that. And we can maybe turn the delay down to 1.5. Now I'll just grab an image plane for it and add it like that, and this one into it and just add it to the merge. Then I'll just click on 2 on the media out to watch the media out, and then I'll just reset everything like that, and we'll just add it into the image planer, and I'll just make this one a black or a dark gray color, that, and then I'll just say you are making, and then make the font Enter, which is my favorite font right now, and then just make it regular or medium. I'll just choose regular for now, and we can size it up a little bit like that. So let's take a look at it. So now we can just copy this and add it layer above and add this down here to add a merge, and then we'll just make this one say 1 million with caps on, and then just make this bold and drag it down and size it up quite a bit like that, and add it right under and just align it over here like that. And as you can see, they are animating on at the same time right now. So what we can do is just go into the keyframes tab here and then just zoom to fit as we do in this spline, and then we'll click on this drop down here and just highlight all of these, go move back until we can see this is just animated on, and then we'll just drag the first keyframe until when it's first animated on. So this is good. Now we just add one more like that, and this one we're just going to make say dollars, and this will be semi bold, and that one we'll just drag under and align into the right corner. What we can do now is just go into the text here and then just highlight everything, and then we'll just move it over till the 1 million is on animating all the way on, and then just drag this one over like that. So this was pretty much what we need. Now we're just going to animate everything. So we just start off by animating the dollar bills. So I'll just go into the first one here, then just add it even closer to the screen and add it up here and maybe rotate it a bit like this. Then we can just add a keyframe in the beginning on the X and on the C, and then just go to the last keyframe and rotate it a bit more, and then we can just go to the first first one and rotate it a bit down like that, and we can drag it all the way to the left on the first one. And then I of course forgot to add a keyframe on the last one, so I'll just drag it in like this, and we'll drag it in a little bit more, something like this. Looks great. What we'll do on the one above is we can just make this one a bit smaller, so just drag it back and add it in the top right corner like this. Then just add a keyframe on the X and the C, go to the first one, and we can just rotate it up a bit like this and just drag it out to the right. And then we can just go into the spline editor and just remove the keyframes tab and then drag it up, make it a bit bigger, and just check off the X offset and make it big. So this one we're going to create manually. Just take this handle on the C, drag it up like that, and drag this one over a bit like this. So how this spline works is we have the time on the X-axis, and on the Y-axis we have the size or the rotation or whatever. So what it means is on the first frames here, it begins rotating really quickly and then dips off in the rotation speed along the way, as you can see on the graph here. So I'll just do the same for the X offset, and then we can see what it actually does. I'll just drag this one down a bit so it goes really fast in the beginning, and drag this one over. Really cool. So then you can see, if we look closely on the one on the top, we can see it goes really fast in the beginning, then slows down, and then we'll just go to do the exact same for the other one here. Take the handle on the X, drag it up like this, and drag this one over like that, and do the same for the Z rotation. So this is pretty much all the animation we'll be doing for this one here. So now we'll just go do the smooth camera movements, add a keyframe on the C translation, and go do the same for the last one, and then just zoom out a bit more. On the first one we'll just zoom in quite a lot like that. Then we'll just open the spline here, and then we'll just make this curve that looks like this. So what we can see here is it go fast in the beginning, slows down, and then speeds up again. And the reason why we made it speed up at the end is because we're going to use this with another animation after, so this will be a kind of transition into the last one. What we'll do now, we can actually just move this one up and add a background into it like this, and just turn the alpha all the way down, and then we can just highlight all of this and then Control G to group it, and we'll just make this say lines, because we'll add this for the 3D composition as well. So just add an image plane. We'll just take this one here and copy it and edit, and add this one in and this one as well. Now we can just move it quite a bit back, and this looks pretty good. The reason why we group this is just to make it look a little bit more organized. What you can also do if you really like to do cool organizing is just highlight all of this, click on Control, click on Shift and Space, and add this thing called an underlay. So this makes it a lot easier when you really want to organize things. And then we can just rename it to, let's just make it say text like that. Now we can also make these lines if we want that. I will just make this a bit smaller once again, and then we can see we have the lines here. If we double click, we can see what's in here. So I'll just grab a background and add it like this, and then we'll just click on 2 in the merge and add a polygon like this, and then add a line like that and a line like this, and then we'll just take the handle and drag down and just go to this one here and drag it over like that. And then we'll check off the solid and just add some border width into it, and just turn down the level a bit to make it have this pretty nice line. And we can just copy this and add it one more time like this, and then we just take the line, drag it up here, and make the line go around opposite way like this, and then just go back, add it one more time, just take this line, drag it up like this, and this one we can just drag to the corner down here, and then we'll just go to the media out and look at it. And honestly, I think the lines is a bit too visible, so we can just go into the polygon here, and then we'll just drag down the level a bit to something like this, and then we'll just copy it in all of these. So this is a bit better. Then we can see we lost the color in the right corner, but now we got it back again. So this is pretty much the first scene. Now we'll just add a Gaussian blur down here, and then we'll just add an ellipse to it like this, and just drag it down and over a bit like that, and we can just invert it and just drag up the soft edge quite a lot, and then just make the blur a little less visible. This just gives a really nice touch to it. And for the dollar down here, I would actually like to see Benjamin on it. So what we can do, I think it's this one, so I'll just grab a transform and add it, and I'll just flip it like this, and it still looks pretty good. Nice. So this was the first animation. So now we'll just do the second animation. So grab a fusion composition and add it like that, and then we'll just make it so we are on 340. Then we'll just go into this one, and we can probably just copy most of the things. I mean, actually, honestly, we can just take this composition, add it over here, go to frame 40, 340 to be exact, and then we'll just use this as a base, and then I'll just reset camera and zoom back a bit more. So I'll just delete this barcode here and remove the image plane, and then we can also remove this $1 bill, and we can go into the media pool and we will just grab Bitcoin. And now it looks really funky because we don't really want it to be this green color, so I'll just make it yellow instead and just turn up the saturation a bit. If we look at the original color, I think it's way too orange, to be honest, so I'll just make it this more yellow color and turn down the saturation, and I'll just go to the media in, then add a crop right after, because if I click on one on this one, you can see it goes all the way to the edges, and then when we add the drop shadow, it doesn't really look that good. As you can see here, this is the drop shadow. So once we add the crop, we'll just go to keep centered, and then we'll just add some X size like that, and we should be good to go. And I'll just take this text here, then I'll delete the one on the top and delete this one, and I'll just make this one say using, and this one will say Bitcoin, and then I'll just take the one that says using, wait, it's this one, and maybe size it up a bit like this, and just drag it up and over like that. And this looks pretty good. Then we'll just go to this median. We'll probably actually delete this one here, go into this image plane, and then just reset everything, and then just unflip it this and add everything over like so. And for the text here, what we're going to do is just add it below like this, and the Bitcoin itself, we'll just make this a bit bigger, so it's something like this. And then we can just go the transform of it, add a keyframe on the angle, and go to the last frame and just rotate it a bit, so it rotates a bit now. Looks pretty cool. What we can do now is just copy all of this and add it right above like so, and then just take image plane and add this forward and down to the right corner like this. Just drag this one to the left and add a blur, and just increase the blur a bit like this, so it isn't as visible. Then we can just go into color here, and I'll just turn down the saturation a bit more. And as you can see now, they are rotating the same, but I think that looks a bit odd, so I'll just go to the last frame and do plus 45, and go to the first one and do plus 45 as well. So now they aren't rotating the exact same. And we can just copy all of this and add it right above once again, and add the image planar down like this, and then we just take this and move it back quite a bit like this, and just add it to the top left corner like we see now. And we'll just go into the transform of it, and then do, what will we do for this one? We'll just do plus 45 once again, go to the first one and do plus 45, and I'll just make sure it's all the way up in the corner. So this looks pretty sick. What we can do now for this up here is just add a transform for it, and then we just flip it like this, and we just flip it just to make it look a bit different. And yeah, maybe move this one up a bit like this. So now we already made the lines as well. I'll just add this back in where it says using Bitcoin, and then we'll add a bit more text. So I'll just add another text plus and add it like this to create a merge, and then I'll just make it a dark gray color once again, and I'll just go to my last animation here and copy what it said in that one. If I can find it, should be here. And if you want to copy it as well, you can just, in the assets there will be a .text file, and then you can just copy whatever, so you don't have to write it manually. And I saw the Bitcoins, and I think they looked a bit better on the last one actually, so I'll just add a bit more saturation in both of these actually, and this one as well, and maybe increase the gain a bit. I think that's the problem, because we used the gain and the lift from the last one, so we'll just reset that. And yeah, you can see it looks quite a bit better now actually a lot better. So now we have copied the text here, and we can just make it from on the layout tab here, we can just make it text box. Then if I click on one on this here, or two, so we can see it, just drag it over a bit, and we can add it on top. We can go into the one here and then just do H anchor, so it's anchored to the left, and just size it down a bit. And then we'll just add it on top somewhere over here, and we just copy this like that and add the other text. So I'll just position it so it looks good. I'll just size it down quite a bit and move it to the left like this. And for this one up here, I'll just move it up quite a bit and over, and just size it down. And I'll just delete this Gaussian blur ellipse here. Now we just go to the camera and add a keyframe on the C, and go to the last one here and just zoom out quite a lot like this. And on the first one we'll just zoom in quite a lot. And the animation type we'll do for this, if we just zoom to fit. And for the animation type for this, we'll just do the same we usually do, where it goes really fast in the beginning and then it slows down. So this looks pretty good. Now we'll just go to the last frame and add a keyframe on the X, and then we'll just go 25 frames forward to the, then we'll just go to the 75 frame and go to the last frame once again, and then just move it over like this, and we just go to the spline again. And for this one we will make it opposite actually, so it goes slow in the beginning and then it speeds up. So now this is what we will end up with. So let's just take a look at it. So we'll just go to playback, and then we will render cache and then do smart. Now it looks really good. So once again, let's just copy this one here, and then we'll just go back into Fusion, and we can probably use the stuff here. We can maybe do a grid for this one. Just type grid, add it like so, and then I'll just delete one of these. For the grid we need background behind it, so what we can do, we can just grab the same background we used down here and add it up here. And on the grid we'll just make this a black, and for the major row we'll just drag it down, and this we will also drag down like this, and just turn down the blend a whole lot like this. And for the camera we'll just reset everything and go here and then just zoom it out quite a lot like this, something like this actually. And then we can just delete, and we can just take this one here, delete it, and delete these two as well. And then we just take the leaves here and add into this one here, and then we can go into the color corrector and then just turn saturation all the way down. You can just delete all of these and add this one in here, and then just click on 2 on the media out, and we'll just reset this one, and we'll reset this one as well. And on the text up here we'll just delete these two here, and on this one down here we can add the lantern I made with the ChatGPT, and I made the leaves as well with ChatGPT. And then we'll just delete the color corrector and reset the image plane once again, and then we can just remove the input like this just to see the size, and then just zoom in like this. And we can go to the grid one over here, just drag this one out, so drag this one in. We can see the size of this one, and then we can see we probably have to turn it down quite a lot actually, just something like this, and then just add it like so. And then we'll just remove the transform this one, and we can go to the image plane, just drag this one to the left, the lantern itself, and go to the leaves here, and one of them we're going to drag up to the top right corner and then just rotate it a bit like so. And the other one we will drag down, the other one we'll just drag down this and rotate it a bit, and we'll make it, we'll just go into the lantern, and then I'll just make the lantern quite a bit bigger, and then just drag it back until it's behind the leaves. Now it's behind, I'll just size it up a bit like this, and just drag to the right. Cool. Now we'll just go to the grid here and just drag up the column cells and add an ellipse to it, and then just turn up the soft edge all the way. Go into the settings here, we can just go into the ellipse actually, and then just turn down the level a bit more, and then just make it a bit wider and taller. Then we can just go to this polygon here, just click on one right after the transform. You can see it a bit better. So I'll just delete this polygon and this one as well. Now we'll just disable this one here and add a polygon like so to the other one, and then just make a line from over here down to here, and then just drag this one up and go to this one and drag this one up as well. So we get this line. Looks pretty good. Then we'll just take off the solid and then just add some border width to make it quite thick actually. And then we'll just turn down the level quite a lot, so it's something like this. And we'll just copy this polygon and add it into the background here. Take this one, and then I'll just drag this one up to the other corner, and this one I'll take down here and drag over a bit like this, and then just enable the background, and we'll just see how it looks. It's alright, but I will just move the things. I'll just delete this transform and move it a bit around. This I'll drag over a bit, and the one on top is actually fine. This is pretty good. Now we can just go into the text and reset everything, and then I'll just drag it over a bit. So what we'll make this one say is just true value always, true value always, and this one will say shine. And for this text here we'll just make it medium, a bit more to the left, and just size it down quite a bit, and this one we'll just size up quite a bit as well. And what I'll do, I'll just go into this one here. What I'll do is just go into the text and then go to the follower and then the transform. Now we'll just go to the first frame and make this one 0, and the Y I'll just make minus 0.04. Let's do that, looks really good. And we'll just go to the one that says shine, and then we'll just go to the keyframes here and zoom to fit, and then just move them over a bit until the last one is on, just right here. I think it's a bit too fast right now, so I'll just take these and drag them over because it's the last animation, so we can make it a bit slower. And then we'll just go into the spline, highlight all of this and right click, choose ease out cubic, and these ones are rotating. I don't really want that, so I'll just delete this one here. And now they look a bit off. I'll just rotate them once again so they look right. But what we can do actually is add a bit of a wiggle into them if we want that. So I'll just add displace, and then I'll just add a fast noise and add it into the displace, and then we can just turn up the see-through rate. And then we can just make the cease rate something like this, and just go into the displays here and then do XY and add a pressure on the X reflection, just drag it down to the Y reflection and then just drag it up a bit. Then we can see it wiggles quite a bit and it looks really cool. Then we can just do the camera animation, so add a keyframe on the X and the last keyframe and add one at the first keyframe, and I'll just drag it over like this. And now we can see we have to make this a bit bigger like so. So now I'll just go into the camera again, zoom to fit, and then I'll just do the fast curve in the beginning and then it slows down. And now let's take a look. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video valuable. And if you ever thought about picking up the animated text pack, you can use code Minimalistic for 10% off. I wish you an amazing day, and I can't wait to see what you create.